Hey guys, I'm Rich from NeoWin, and today we're unboxing the iPhone XS Max. So I've been using the iPhone X for the last year, and I love it, but the thing is that this really isn't an exciting upgrade if you're coming from the X. And that's the big issue this year, because if you're coming from an 8 Plus, anything before that, it's awesome. I think that's the big feature this year. It's just that, it's the iPhone X design. And, I'm on the iPhone upgrade program, as many people are, and many people have upgrade programs through their carrier, and that's a reason to upgrade. So, it's there, so you can take it, but, if you're paying full price for a phone, you probably wouldn't want to do this if you have an iPhone X already, especially since it's an expensive phone. So, a couple things. I got the gold model, and one thing we're going to notice here is that this actually supports CDMA, and I'm activating it on T-Mobile. So this should be the T-Mobile model that they sent me. Although it says A1921, and both the CDMA and the GSM models in North America are 1921. But, oddly enough, they sent me one that supports CDMA. So hopefully, I would think this would work on Verizon and Sprint as well, which is awesome, because you should get an unlocked phone with the iPhone upgrade program. And that was an issue previously, because they did have separate models for, there was an AT&T T-Mobile model, and there was a Verizon Sprint model. Now if you go to apple.com/iPhone/LTE, it tells you they're all on the same model, but then it just tells you there's one that's GSM and one that's CDMA. Okay, so let's get this open, right? So this is a little packaged a little oddly here. So we can see that the wrapping was a little loose on there. So we can just pull this open right here. All right, designed by Apple in California. That's pretty standard stuff. And there is the iPhone XS Max. So let's take a look at what we have in here. Okay, as you can see, place iPhone with screen facing up on AirPower, or a Qi-certified wireless charger. So that's something you may want to. AirPower doesn't exist. They announced AirPower at the iPhone X, iPhone 8 event last year. They said it was coming in 2018, and the latest rumors / leaks are just that it's dead. They weren't able to pull it off because it was supposed to be one wireless charger that you could use to charge your iPhone, your Apple Watch, and just all of your Apple stuff. There was supposed to be a wireless charging case for AirPods. And apparently it was just too ambitious. It overheats, and it didn't work out. So this is the iPhone XS Max. I went with gold, and so you can see it's very nice. It's a light shade of gold on the back, and the gold stainless steel border looks lovely. Inside of the device, this is kind of a joke if you ask me, but well, we have the Lightning earpods. We have a USB Type A to Lightning adapter and a 5-watt USB Type A adapter. So the problem with this is that ever since the iPhone 8/8 Plus/10, all of these new iPhones have supported fast charging. The issue there is that this charger doesn't support fast charging. So what you need for fast charging, you need the 29-watt USB-C adapter, and then you need a Type-C to Lightning cable. So you need to replace both of these to get fast charging, and that'll cost you about $74 from the Apple Store. And considering that this phone starts at $1,100, you would think that they could throw that in. You could think that some companies would start throwing in Bluetooth headphones when they're killing the headphone jack, but that's not what's happening. So it's definitely worthwhile noting that this 5-watt charger, which charges iPhones very slowly, I should add, is still included with the packaging. And if you get one of these, I highly recommend investing in a fast charger, because it's worth it. So you take a look at these two devices side by side before I send back the iPhone X over here. And the 10, this is the same size as the iPhone XS. Same dimensions, everything. Although I've heard the camera bump is just a little taller, so you might have some issues with cases. But It's the same size. So the iPhone XS Max, it's really more the size of a Plus model, and you feel it in your hand. But what you get with that is you get a huge battery, which is even bigger than in the Plus model. So that's kind of a big deal. You should get some nice battery life with this. I never really liked the form factor of the Plus. I never liked the wide and flat back. It just doesn't feel that comfortable to hold. I always thought this was perfect, but what you get with this size, you just get such great battery life. So we're going to boot this up, and hopefully it comes activated with the SIM. Otherwise, I'm going to have to put my old SIM card in there. Okay, so this guy just finished restoring from an iCloud backup. I almost forgot about the ridiculousness of setting up a device on T-Mobile when you're not at a T-Mobile store, because it actually comes up with an IMEI number and a SIM number, and it says call T-Mobile and give them these numbers to activate your new phone. So, I mean, I did what any sensible person should do. I took the old SIM out of my old phone and put it in the new phone. And sure enough, it's set up. It comes with the SIM pin, as we saw before, and it's that simple. It also comes with Apple stickers. These things have been coming with Apple devices for, as long as I've been buying them, which is the first one I bought was, I think, the iPhone 4S, And I mean, these just come with it. I guess it's just a thing that they do. But, you would think like they throw in that little extra. They could throw in a better charger. I don't think it costs them $74 to make that fast charger. There's a couple things I noticed about this device. One, I mean, you do get that bigger UI. And, it's a good and a bad thing. I like having a bigger UI and a bigger screen, bigger buttons and that sort of thing. One, because I noticed that the keyboard is bigger, but the issue with that now is that for the other half of people, it's not taking advantage of the extra space. So some people want bigger things. Some people want apps that take advantage of that extra space. So really right now, all you're getting is bigger things. But also, I mean, this is the first day that this phone exists with this aspect ratio and this size. We did have the 5.5-inch Plus model, obviously. And I mean, some apps took advantage of that, some didn't, obviously, also. So, oh God, this little one is still there. So this was an issue with my last phone, and it was super annoying because what I did was I upgraded that phone to the iOS 8.1 beta because, it was on the iOS 8 beta, and the thing is, yeah, that one isn't going away even though there's no update. And what I did was I rolled it back. So I flashed iOS 12, and I restored from my iCloud backup, but I didn't realize that it actually restored the beta profile as well. So what happened was that it tried to give me iOS 12.1 again, and when I uninstalled the beta profile, I rebooted the phone. That little number 1 doesn't go away, and it's just there, I guess, until iOS 12.1 actually shows up. But the reason I rolled it back, and you're going to want to be aware of this if you're buying this phone, is that the iOS 12.1 beta image for this phone does not exist yet. And that might end up being a problem. It might roll out OTA if you install the profile. I don't know. But if you have your current phone on iOS 12.1 beta, and you can't put this phone on iOS 12.1, you won't be able to restore from an iCloud backup. So one thing that I was hoping for, and it doesn't look like it's going to be there, but we're going to check. Where's our battery settings? No. You know what I was hoping? One thing that we lost with the iPhone X is battery percentage. Remember, like with the older phones, you used to be able to put the battery percentage right next to the battery up there. Now you got to open the control center there to see it. And I was hoping that with the bigger screen, a little bigger real estate, bigger notch size, because the notch size is the same. I mean, bigger size around the notch, more screen real estate over there. So I was hoping that they would allow us to bring back that battery percentage, but that does not seem to be the case. So this is all restoring. I mean, this is all pretty much exactly what you would expect. One of the biggest complaints about getting a new iPhone is that it just doesn't feel like a new phone. And that's because, yeah, it does pretty much the same thing as your last phone. The camera looks the same. There's going to be some new portrait mode features. It's going to be a lot faster due to the A12 Bionic processor. And the camera was one of the things they boasted. But really, the truth is that if you're coming from an iPhone X, it's a little faster, the camera's a little better, the screen's a little bigger. It's all very iterative. There's no really cool new feature that I can show you on this. What's new is the size. And if you're coming from that old iPhone 6 design that they used for 4 years, that's new this year. So, the size, the color, the design, that's all new. But as far as phone features, it's really nothing new. And that's why I think during the event they spent so much time talking about the A12 Bionic, because that's really all they have. And it does have a dedicated neural engine. Huawei did this first with the Kirin 970, and they call it a neural processing unit. So it's dedicated hardware for AI and machine learning tests. And that can be really useful. Huawei used it for camera stuff, so it can actually tell what the device is looking at. And, Apple didn't go that route. We see it. LG did it with the G7 ThinQ. Samsung did it with the Galaxy Note 10. But they did it without the dedicated hardware. And you could tell if you use a G7 ThinQ that it's a little slower, a little clunkier to try and use that feature. If you get a Huawei P20 or P20 Pro or Mate 10, and you compare that feature to the G7 ThinQ, you could definitely see the benefits of having that dedicated AI hardware in there. And I'm kind of curious to see where that leads as far as the iPhone goes, and that's going to be interesting because they didn't do the thing with the camera. They did some stuff with the camera, not the same type of thing, where they did the smart HDR type of thing where it takes a bunch of pictures and kind of combines the best view or finds the best shot, and it's kind of intelligent in that way. But I'll have to test that out in the real world before there's nothing I could do to show that off here, and there's nothing really else I could show because iOS is the same on pretty much any phone that you use it on. So obviously, well, actually it's not the same these days, right? So to get to multitasking, you have to go kind of halfway up from the bottom. To go home from an app, you would just swipe up. So if I go to Amazon Music, swipe up, goes your home. Multitask, by the way, originally you couldn't just swipe these away. You had to hold them, but that's something that they fixed in iOS 12. Control Center, swipe in from the top right corner. Notification Center, just swipe down from the top, and that's going to show you, all of your notifications. So it's a different UI. If you're nervous about it, I was nervous about it last year. I actually warned people against it last year, I think, because I was very skeptical of Face ID and the new UI because, it's learning a new way of doing things. We had that kind of muscle memory of using that home button, and you get used to it very quickly. I can promise you that. There's going to be a couple times in the very beginning that you'll try to press the bottom of the screen because you think it's going to take you home or something like that. And it's also a little clunky if you use an iPad regularly because now you have to switch between the new UI and the old UI. Although iOS 12 does have some of the new features from this on the iPad, so that's good. Anyway, guys, that's it. I'm going to have a review in a few weeks. I'm going to put it through its paces. I'm going to run some benchmarks. I'm going to test the camera. I'm going to stare at this lovely gold color. By the way, the body is the same. I mean, Apple doesn't really change that much. Volume rocker over here. The switch to mute your notifications over here. Power button over here. Lightning port on the bottom. Speaker grill. Nothing on the top. No headphone jack. Nothing's really changed there. So yeah, beautiful phone, bigger phone. It's basically the Plus model in the form of an iPhone 10. And what's really good about the Max, what's really good about the 10s, I should say, not the Max, is that they didn't differentiate features this time. What they did with the Plus model is that you had to get the Plus model to get that dual camera. Now you get the same camera, you get the same everything except a bigger battery and a bigger screen. If you get the 10s, the feature set is the same. And that's what's cool. If you get the 10R, that's where you lose that dual camera. Although I think the 10R is going to be the popular one. And that's going to be really interesting to see because I think that when we see how popular the 10R is, I think we'll see how valuable the dual camera is not. I think this is something that in the long run really doesn't matter. The truth is, I know a lot of people don't want to hear this. If you use a lot of the phones on the market, if you use all of them, you'll see that the iPhone camera is actually pretty mediocre, and it's fine on its own. It's okay, and it has a lot of great features, like it's really fast, which is great for a user. But truthfully, the pictures it takes, pretty mediocre. So, the portrait mode, I don't know that a lot of people even use that. I find it clunky that you have to use the 2x zoom, and it tells you to stand a little further away, and then it tells you a little closer, and then it tells you there's not enough light, and it's really just a pain, and I almost never use it. So I wonder if there's really going to be value in that dual camera in the long run, and if people just end up opting for that single camera because, it's not worth the extra money for that. And I don't think there's going to be a big difference between the LCD and the OLED. Because remember, take a look at an iPhone 8 or an 8 Plus. Like, the LCD looks good, and the pixel density is the same as the iPhone 8. Like, pull out an iPhone 8. The screen looks good. I don't think you're going to regret that. So yeah, that's the iPhone XS Max, and it's a great phone. It's an expensive phone. It starts at $1099. I paid $1249 for the 256 gigabyte model, and then it's $1449 for the 512 gigabyte model, which is a hugely expensive phone. And you should really be sure that that's what you want. But it is a lovely phone. It's a beautiful phone, and that's it. And we'll have a review for it in a few weeks. I'm Rich from NeoWin. Have a great night.